"Don't pose that." His voice cuts through the dimly lit room like a blade. Low and commanding, every word wrapped in quiet threat. But she doesn't look up from the phone screen. Her fingers hover over the upload button, trembling. Not from fear anymore, but from something that feels dangerously close to freedom. Across from her, he paces, jaw tight, suit immaculate, even at midnight. The glow from the city outside reflects against the glass walls of his penthouse, trapping them both in a cage made of secrets. Her name is Alina Khan, his Daniel Mercer, billionaire tech visionary, media darling, the kind of man whose smile can sway markets and whose silence can bury stories. For 2 years, no one's heard Alina's voice, not really. Her Instagram went dark, her podcast vanished overnight, and her followers, millions of them, whispered theories that she'd sold out, disappeared, or worse. But tonight, that silence ends. Her phone shakes in her hand as Daniel leans in, whispering through clenched teeth, "You know what this will do. To you, to me." She finally looks up, eyes glinting with the kind of exhaustion that only truth can fuel. That's the point. The video goes live. Within seconds, notifications explode. Screens around the world light up with her face. No filters, no edits, no PR polish, just raw truth. "My name is Alina Khan," she begins, voice steady but eyes wet, "and I was paid to keep quiet. But silence has a cost." The comments section ignites like wildfire. Her words echo across platforms, stitched into reaction videos, dissected by creators, and dragged into the spotlight. Daniel Mercer built his empire from the internet doesn't sleep, and tonight, it's hungry. Cut to live feeds, hashtags, headlines, hashtag Alina speaks, trends within 10 minutes. People dig through archives, resurfacing old photos, deleted interviews, hidden patterns in her posts. The story isn't just viral, it's volcanic. But beneath the chaos, one question pulses: what did he pay her for? Daniel's PR team is already on damage control. Anonymous statements flood news outlets. Unsubstantiated claims. They call it a personal matter being weaponized online. But Alina doesn't delete her post. She goes live again, thousands watching, her hands visibly shaking but her words unflinching. "He said silence was protection," she says, "but it was control. He said he wanted to keep me safe, but what he really wanted was to keep me quiet." Her audience hangs on every syllable. She has not just speaking, she has dismantling a story that has been scripted by someone else for too long. Inside Daniel's penthouse, he watches the views climb 1 million, 2, 3. His reflection warped by the TV screen. His phone buzzes non-stop. A message from his lawyer. "We need to talk now." He throws the phone across the room. "She wouldn't," he mutters. But deep down, he knows she already did. Hours later, Alina is sitting in her car in a parking lot, the glow of her dashboard lighting her face. Her messages are flooded, reporters, influencers, old friends suddenly wanting to check in. She scrolls through them all until one name freezes her. Unknown. The message reads, "You don't know what you've started." She locks her phone. Outside, the rain starts. Inside, her heart feels lighter than it has in years. 3 months ago, this would have been impossible. Back then, she was still living under the contract. The NDA Daniel made her sign after what happened that night. The night no one talks about. The night that changed everything. She remembers it in flashes, the rooftop party, the champagne, the cameras flashing like lightning. She'd been one of the youngest podcast hosts to cross 10 million streams, known for exposing lies in industries built on image. Daniel had come on her show once, charming, articulate, disarming, the perfect guest. After that, the messages started. Offers to collaborate, invitations to private events. Then came the opportunity of a lifetime, a chance to join his media venture, to become part of something bigger. She'd said yes, but bigger quickly became suffocating. Meetings turned personal, texts got darker, boundaries blurred, and then one night, one conversation, one line she could never unhear. "You're too smart for your own good, Alina," he'd said, smiling the way powerful men do when they think they're untouchable. "People like you talk too much." The next morning, her accounts were frozen. Her podcast pulled, her team restructured. Within a week, she was gone from the internet. Until now, her phone buzzes again, this time, a call. Unknown number. She hesitates, then answers. Silence. Then, a familiar voice. "You think this will end well for you?" It's Daniel. He sounds calm. Too calm. truth doesn't end, she replies. It just outlasts people like you. But she knows this isn't over, not by a long shot, because she's not the only one. In the hours after her video, messages start pouring in, women she's never met, all with eerily similar stories, promises, NDAs, fear. Some send screenshots, others voice notes. One sends a photo of a letter marked confidential. Alina realizes she's started a fire Daniel can't control anymore. Still, not everyone believes her. Online debates fracture the internet into factions. Hashtag Team Alina versus hashtag Mercer Defense. Old clips are edited to make her look unstable, bitter, vengeful. Trolls flood her comments with venom. But there's one thing none of them can deny. The evidence she hints at. The encrypted files she mentions. The ones she says could rewrite everything. That's what Daniel fears most. Because those files exist. And if they ever surface, they won't just destroy his image. They'll expose the network behind him. As dawn breaks, Alina stands at the edge of the city, watching the skyline she once admired. She breathes deeply, the morning air sharp against her lungs. The storm she started is only beginning, and the truth, her truth, is still only half told. But she's not afraid anymore, because this time, silence isn't an option. And Daniel Mercer, he's about to learn what happens when you try to buy someone's voice and lose your empire to it. The sun hasn't even cleared the skyline when the news cycle goes nuclear. Every channel, every feed, every podcast is dissecting her words. Analysts argue over motives. Influencers upload reaction videos with thumbnails of Alina's tear-streaked face. And journalists line up outside Daniel Mercer's Manhattan headquarters like vultures scenting blood. Inside, the atmosphere is electric. Board members whisper in hallways. Assistants scurry with printed NT. And Daniel's PR chief, Lauren Heller, stares at him with a mix of fear and fury. You said this was handled, she says, voice low but sharp. Daniel rubs his temple. It was, until she decided to self-destruct. Lauren slams a file on his desk. Self-destruct. She's trending in 42 countries. Your investors are panicking. Your partners want statements. And she pauses, lowering her voice. The documents she hinted at. If they're real, we're not just talking about bad press. We're talking indictments. Daniel's jaw tightens. They're not real, but even he doesn't sound convinced. Across the city, Alina's holed up in a small Airbnb under a fake name. She hasn't slept. Her phone's a battlefield, every notification, a grenade waiting to explode. Some are supportive, we believe you. Others are threats. But she's not scrolling through the hate. She's focused on one message. Thread her conversation with Nova, an anonymous whistleblower, who claims to have proof of what Daniel's company, Mercer Digital, really does behind its glossy facade. Alina reads the last message again. Meet me in person. No phones, no recordings. Tonight, she hesitates. Every instinct screams this could be a trap. But she also knows, if what Nova says is true, it could be the missing piece. Later that evening, she steps into an underground cafe, the kind of place where everyone pretends not to notice anyone. A woman in a grey hoodie sits alone, sipping burnt coffee. Alina approaches cautiously. Nova. The woman looks up, her eyes tired, her face half hidden. You shouldn't have gone public, she says softly. Now they'll come for both of us. Alina sits. Then, give me something they can't bury. Nova slides a small encrypted drive across the table. It's all there. The NDAs, the offshore accounts, the buyouts, the people he paid to stay silent. Just like you. Alina's breath catches. How did you get this? I used to work in compliance, Nova replies, until I found out compliance meant cleaning up the crimes. Before Alina can respond, Nova glances over her shoulder. A man in a black suit enters, scanning the room. They followed you, Nova hisses. Go now. Alina bolts through the back exit, clutching the drive. The rain has started again, heavier this time, drumming against the pavement as she sprints toward her car. Tires screech behind her. A black SUV pulls out of the alley, headlights blinding. She dives inside her car, locks the doors, and speeds away. Her heart pounds as she checks the rearview mirror, no sign of them. But she knows that means nothing. Daniel's reach extends far beyond security teams. By the time she gets back to her rental, the city feels like it's watching her. Cameras, shadows, every ping of her phone makes her flinch. She connects the drive to her laptop and enters the passcode Nova gave her. The screen floods with files, emails, payment trails, contracts marked confidential. One folder catches her eye. Mercer_internal_2022. She opens it, and the air leaves her lungs. Inside are dozens of NDAs, some with names blacked out, others signed by public figures, journalists, and influencers. She recognizes people who suddenly stopped posting, disappeared from their platforms, or rebranded overnight. Each file ends with the same signature, Daniel Mercer. She scrolls further. Hidden payments, shell companies, a reputation management firm that secretly controls online narratives, suppressing stories and promoting false ones. Alina's stomach twists as she realizes how deep it goes. Not just one man silencing women, but an entire network built to control truth itself. Meanwhile, on the other side of the city, Daniel's private meeting is in full swing. 3 executives, a lawyer, and a cybersecurity specialist sit around his marble table. "We've traced her login," says the specialist. "She's in Brooklyn." "You want us to?" Daniel cuts him off. "No, not yet. If she's smart, she's already copied everything. We need to contain, not chase." His lawyer interjects. "You could still offer her a settlement. Quiet money. It worked before." Daniel glares. "This isn't about money anymore. It's about power." He pauses, almost amused. She thinks she's the hero in some moral crusade. But every truth has a price hand. She's about to learn how high it can be. Back in the Airbnb, Alina uploads a hidden teaser to her followers. "Tomorrow, noon, the truth you've been asking for." She encrypts the files and sends backups to 2 trusted friends overseas. She knows Daniel will try to intercept, maybe even spin it, but this time, she's one step ahead. Still, sleep won't come. Her mind replays the moment she first met him, the way he'd looked at her, like someone analyzing data, not a person. She remembers his favorite line, "Perception is reality." She used to think it was clever. Now she knows it was a warning. At 2 a.m., her phone buzzes again. A video call request from an unknown contact. Against her better judgment, she answers. The screen shows Daniel, alone in his office, eyes dark, voice steady. "You've made your point," he says. "Now stop before you regret it." "Regret what?" she shoots back. He leans forward. "You think you can handle what happens when the public turns? You think the people chanting your name won't eat you alive once the narrative shifts?" He smirks. "I built the algorithms that decide what they see, Alina. You're not fighting me or fighting the machine." Her pulse spikes, but she doesn't flinch. "Then I'll break it." He laughs softly. "You can't break what you don't understand." The call ends. The screen goes black, her reflection staring back, frightened, furious, unbroken. The next morning, the world wakes up to chaos. Mercer Digital's stock plummets. Anonymous leaks fragments of internal memos online. News anchors speak in urgent tones. A whistleblower is missing, rumored to be the same woman Alina met in that cafe. Police find her car abandoned near the river. No trace of her. Alina's live countdown ticks closer to 0. Tens of thousands waiting, refreshing her page. She sits before her camera, the USB drive in her hand. She doesn't know if she'll be safe after this, but she knows the truth will outlive her. The timer hits 0. Her stream goes live. "Before I show you what he tried to bury," she says, eyes fixed on the lens, "you need to understand one thing. This isn't just my story. It's about everyone who was told to be quiet. About what silence really costs." She clicks share. The files begin to upload. And somewhere in the city, Daniel Mercer realizes this time, money won't save him. The screen glitches for a split second, the upload bar crawling forward as the chat floods with comments. "We re with you. Stay safe. This is history." But before the file hits 50%, the stream freezes. The chat explodes in confusion, viewers refreshing, reloading, accusing Daniel's company of interference. Alina's laptop screen flickers, then goes black. A single message appears. Connection lost. Her heart drops. She tries again, no signal. Her Wi-Fi has been hijacked. The lights in the apartment dim for a moment, the power humming back unevenly. Someone's inside her network. She yanks the cable, shuts the laptop, and grabs her phone, dialing her backup contact Tria, a cybersecurity expert she's known since college. "They're in," Alina says, voice shaking. "They killed the upload." Ria's voice crackles through the line, urgent but calm. "Okay, listen, you can't connect from that IP again. They've traced you. Get out of there right now." Alina throws her things into a bag, grabs the encrypted drive, and rushes for the door. Outside, the street glistens with rain. A car slows as she steps out. Her breath catches it, a black sedan, tinted windows. For a second, she's frozen, but then the car speeds past, splashing water across her legs. She exhales shakily, flags down a passing cab, and tells the driver to head toward Williamsburg. In a high-risk office uptown, Daniel watches the failed stream replay on muted screens. His digital operations chief, Miles, leans over a keyboard. "We've contained the leak for now," he says, but fragments of the files are out. A few clips already hit Reddit. Daniel's jaw tightens. How much? Enough to make people start asking questions. He walks to the window, overlooking the city. "Then we feed them answers," he says coldly. "Our answers." By the next morning, the media landscape looks like a battlefield. Major outlets report conflicting stories. Some claim Alina fabricated everything for fame. Others dig into her past, twisting her interviews into evidence of instability. Anonymous sources emerge, people claiming to have worked with her, describing her as obsessive, vengeful, unbalanced. But what viewers don't know is that those sources are Mercer's employees, handpicked and briefed. Despite the noise, Alina's followers aren't buying it. They're organizing. Hashtags multiply. Hashtag we hear Alina. Hashtag unmute the silenced. Hashtag expose Mercer. Digital protests erupt on social media, flooding every post by Mercer Digital with comments demanding transparency. It's no longer a scandal, it's a movement. In a quiet co-working space, Alina and Ria huddle over a laptop. "I moved your backups to decentralized nodes," Ria says. "Even if they shut down one, the rest stay alive. You can relaunch the drop safely." Alina nods, eyes tired but fierce. "He's turning the world against me," she murmurs. "Then let's make the world see him." Ria clicks a few keys, opening a live map of data points syncing worldwide. Once this upload starts, she says, no one, not even Mercer, can stop it. Meanwhile, Daniel meets with an unfamiliar Fassa man in a dark coat, soft-spoken, unassuming. His name is Dr. Adrian Cole, a behavioral analytics strategist, formerly of Mercer's inner circle. Daniel leans forward. "I need to control the narrative again," he says. "I don't care what it costs." Cole studies him quietly. "You're bleeding credibility," he says. "You can't silence the internet anymore. You have to redirect it. Give them a villain worse than you." Daniel frowns. "And who would that be?" Cole's lips curve slightly. "The woman who started this." Within hours, coordinated content floods the web, videos accusing Alina of staging the leaks, of conspiring with rival companies, of manipulating the truth for profit. A deepfake surfaces, her face altered, her voice twisted into false admissions. It's masterfully done, and for the first time, public opinion wavers. Alina watches in disbelief. "They're rewriting reality," she whispers. Ria clenches her fists. "Then we show them the receipts." They open the real files, the untouched contracts, the bank logs, the signed NDAs. Alina hits record. "This," she says into the camera, "isn't a conspiracy. It's proof." She plays the clips one by one, real footage of staff meetings, real memos from Daniel's office, real names of people paid to lie. The truth is undeniable, and this time, it's streaming live across decentralized servers. No corporate control, no takedowns possible. The internet erupts. Millions tune in. Hashtags flip overnight. Commentators who dismissed her now scramble to retract their takes. Journalists confirm the document's authenticity. For the first time, Daniel's power fractures publicly, but victory doesn't feel safe, because within hours, Alina's phone buzzes again, a message with a video attachment. She presses play, and her face drains of color. It's Nova, the whistleblower, her voice trembling, recorded in what looks like a basement. "You don't understand," Nova says. "It's not just Daniel, it's bigger, much bigger." The feed cuts off abruptly. Alina stares at the frozen frame. "She's alive," she whispers. Ria nods. Or she was when that was recorded. The next morning, she receives an email from an untraceable address. "If you want the rest of the truth, come alone. No police, no press. Midnight, Pier 17. Ria begs her not to go. "It's bait," she says. He's desperate. But Alina's resolve hardens. "If it's bait, I'll see what he's fishing for." By midnight, the docks are deserted. The city skyline glows in the distance, cold and unwelcoming. She steps forward, her footsteps echoing against wet concrete. A figure emerges from the shadows. Daniel. No entourage, no guards, Just him. You shouldn't have come, he says. I'm not afraid of you anymore. He smirks faintly. You should be afraid of what comes after me. For the first time, his voice carries something she's never heard before. Fear before she can respond. Another sound cuts through the night, the whir of a drone overhead, then another. Daniel looks up, eyes narrowing. What did you do? He demands. Alina takes a step back. You wanted control, she says. But you built something that doesn't need you anymore. Above them, hundreds of drones light up the sky, forming words visible across the city. The truth doesn't belong to him anymore. Daniel's face goes pale. Somewhere deep in the city's networks, his systems are turning on him. Automated backups, whistleblower releases, archives of suppressed data spilling into public space. The empire he built to bury the truth is now exposing it. He turns to Alina, voice trembling. You don't understand what you've started. She looks him dead in the eyes. No, Daniel, you don't understand what you ended. Police sirens wail in the distance. Daniel's phone buzzes with one last message from his lawyer. 2 words. They know. And as the first red-blue lights reflect on the water, Alina realizes this isn't the end of the story. It's the beginning of something even bigger. Because Nova was right. Daniel Mercer was just the face. The real power, the real monster was still out there, watching, waiting. And it's finally been disturbed. The city doesn't sleep that night. The news breaks before sunrise. Daniel Mercer detained amid corporate scandal. Helicopters hover over the courthouse. Cameras flash like lightning, and anchors narrate every frame of his arrest with the kind of breathless urgency. Because while the world's attention is fixed on Daniel, the data flood that began with Alina's upload hasn't stopped its accelerating. New names, new accounts, whole branches of hidden companies. Someone or something is still releasing the truth. In a cramped apartment a few miles away, Alina stares at her laptop, exhausted, hollow-eyed, running on caffeine and adrenaline. Her phone buzzes non-stop. Interview requests, threats, messages from strangers thanking her for speaking up. But one notification stands out: an anonymous encrypted file transfer, timestamped at 3:17 a.m. The sender's tag reads only, Nova_alive. Her breath catches. She opens the message. A single line appears. They're not done. Look deeper into Project Eclipse. Attached is a folder filled with classified correspondence between Mercer Digital and several government departments, contracts for data management, algorithmic integrity, and something labeled behavioral influence experimentation. Ria, half asleep on the couch, blinks at the screen. What is this? Alina scrolls faster, her voice shaking. It's not just NDAs and payoffs anymore. They were manipulating information, controlling what people saw, what they believed. Her hand trembles as she opens a video file buried in the folder. A conference room. Daniel at the head of the table, flanked by officials she recognizes from televised hearings. One man says, once we finalize the beta phase, public sentiment will be self-correcting. Daniel nods, replying, if they believe they discovered the truth on their own, we never get caught. Ria exhales sharply. They weren't just protecting reputations, they were shaping reality. Alina slumps back, her pulse roaring in her ears. Nova tried to warn me. This isn't just a scandal, it's a system. Meanwhile, in a secure government facility, a team of cyber intelligence officers scrambles to contain the leaks. We traced the data trail, one says, but it's fragmented across hundreds of independent nodes. It's like the files are alive. Their director frowns. Then we find the source. Shut it down before this turns into a global crisis. But the files don't stop. Over the next 24 hours, more data emerges, proof that Mercer Digital wasn't alone. Other tech conglomerates, consulting firms, even parts of mainstream media appear in the documents. The story has mutated beyond control. Alina's name trends again, but this time it's attached to something larger. Hashtag the Eclipse Files. Her one small rebellion is now a movement tearing through the foundations of power. By noon, her phone rings an unknown number. Against her better judgment, she answers. You're in over your head, a woman's voice says. It's distorted, scrambled, untraceable. They're going to make you disappear like the others. Who is this? Alina demands. A pause. Then, someone who tried to expose Eclipse 10 years ago. You need to leave the country. They'll call it an accident. The line goes dead. Panic surges through her chest. But before she can respond, Ria bursts in from the kitchen. Turn on the news. On the screen, footage of Daniel Mercer being escorted into a federal vehicle, till suddenly, chaos, a blast. Smoke engulfs the frame. Reporters scream. The feed cuts out. Jesus, Ria whispers. Alina feels her throat tighten. That wasn't an accident. Moments later, her laptop pings again, a live message window opening on its own. You need to run. Is this Nova? She types. No reply. Another line appears instead. They're already coming for you. Almost on cue, tires screech outside. Black SUVs again. The same kind she saw before. She and Ria lock eyes. Go, Ria says. Take the drive. I'll wipe everything else. Alina hesitates. I'm not leaving you. You don't have a choice, Ria insists. You're the voice. They can silence me, but not you. Tears blur her vision as she grabs her coat and bolts down the back stairwell. Outside, the city hums obliviously. Neon signs reflecting off puddles. Sirens wailing in the distance. She ducks into an alley, pulls up her hood, and vanishes into the maze of streets. Hours later, she's sitting in a train station, hood still up, scanning faces. Every sound feels amplified, the echo of footsteps, the murmur of announcements, the distant roll of thunder. Her reflection in the window looks like someone else entirely. She's not the journalist anymore, not the influencer. She's something different, someone hunted. Her phone buzzes again, a text. You don't know me, but I can help. Safe house near Hudson Yard. Door code 9175. She doesn't trust it, but she's out of options. Rain starts to fall again as she walks through the empty streets toward the coordinates. When she arrives, the door is already slightly ajar. She steps inside cautiously. A dim light flickers. Someone's sitting at a desk surrounded by monitors. Close the door, the figure says. It's a man, mid-40s, with a kind of calm that comes from living in the shadows. You're Alina Khan. Who are you? He turns toward her. Someone who used to work for them. The Eclipse program wasn't just data manipulation, it was predictive control. They'd been using behavior models to steer elections, economies, even movements like yours. She stares at him, numb. You're saying this was planned? He nods slowly. Planned and anticipated. They built the opposition themselves. Even your rebellion. Her mind reels. You mean they let you speak? He says. Because they wanted to see how far truth could spread before it collapses under its own chaos. You're not fighting the system, Alina. You're part of its test. The words hit like a physical blow. She shakes her head. No, that can't be true. Then ask yourself, he says quietly, why you're still alive. She backs away, pulse racing, confusion and fury colliding in her chest. If this is some kind of manipulation, it ends now. He looks at her sadly. You can't end something that rewrites itself. Before she can respond, one of his monitors flashes red in alert. Surveillance feed. Armed men moving toward the building. They found us, he says, reaching for a hidden panel on the wall. There's a back exit. Go. Alina hesitates just long enough to grab a small black folder from his desk labeled Eclipse Phase 2. Then she runs, through the corridor, down the stairwell, into the storm. Behind her, gunfire echoes. She doesn't stop until she's blocks away, soaked, trembling, clutching the folder like it's oxygen. Inside are pages of data, names, and diagrams showing how the Eclipse system feeds real-time social data into algorithms that predict and manipulate mass psychology. It's no longer about silencing people. It's about steering them. She collapses on a park bench under the rain, breath ragged. Somewhere across the city, an explosion lights up the skyline. The safe house is gone. She closes her eyes, tears mixing with rain. Ria's words echo in her mind. You're the voice. And now, that voice carries something far bigger than her own truth. As dawn breaks, Alina looks at the skyline burning orange behind the clouds and whispers, if they think they can script the truth, then I'll rewrite it myself. Her phone buzzes one last time. A message from an unknown number. Phase 2 starts now. She stares at the screen, her reflection trembling in its glow. This isn't just her fight anymore. It's everyone's, and the next move will change everything. The rain has stopped, but the city feels different, now quieter, heavier, like it's holding its breath. Alina sits on a park bench, hood drawn low, watching the world scroll by on glowing screens. Every corner of social media is on fire. Hashtag the Eclipse Files has overtaken the internet, and millions of people are finally waking up to what was hiding in plain sight. But the deeper the truth spreads, the more distorted it becomes. Dozens of fake versions of the documents circulate alongside the real ones, each one tweaked just enough to create doubt. Conspiracy channels twist her message into wild theories, politicians weaponize her name for their own gain, and influencers profit off her pain. The truth has gone viral, but not in the way she hoped. She glances at the folder in her lap, still damp from the rain. Eclipse Phase 2. The words stare back at her like a threat. She opens it again, tracing her finger over a diagram labeled Sentiment Architecture. It's a web of interlocking systems, data collection, targeted narratives, AI-generated personas. The notes explain how each piece feeds into the next, shaping not just opinions but emotions. Hope, fear, outrage, outrage, engineered, measured, optimized. Ria's voice plays in her head. They don't just silence you, they make you doubt yourself. Her phone buzzes. It's Ria live. Somehow, you're on every feed, she says, breathless. They're saying you're behind the attacks now. They've flipped the story. They're painting you as the architect of the leaks, as the one destabilizing the system. Alina exhales, steady but shaking inside. Then they've already started Phase 2. She looks up, realizing what this means. Eclipse wasn't designed to control truth, it was designed to control trust. Once no one knows what's real anymore, everyone's vulnerable. Across town, in a heavily guarded facility, a dozen monitors display her face. A woman in a dark suit watches intently. She's adapting faster than predicted, the woman says. Her assistant nods. Public sentiment has fragmented. Half think she's a hero, half think she's dangerous. The model's holding. The woman turns toward him, then proceed, trigger the influence cascade. Within minutes, social feeds around the world start to glitch, recalibrating timelines, amplifying outrage, burying nuance. Alina's name flashes across millions of posts, each one more distorted than the last. Meanwhile, Alina meets Ria in a hidden basement beneath an old radio station. Cables hang from the ceiling, and the faint hum of static fills the air. They're everywhere, Ria says, pulling up a map of active servers. You can't shut them all down. I don't need to, Alina says. I just need to show people how it works. She opens her laptop and begins recording her final transmission. The camera light blinks red. If you can hear this, she says, her voice steady, you've already been part of it. The comments you leave, the stories you share, the emotions you feel when you see my name, they're all part of their experiment. But there's one thing they can't predict. Choice. Ria begins syncing the feed to thousands of mirror servers. Once this uploads, it's everywhere, she says. But before it finishes, the basement lights flicker. A low hum fills the room, then silence. The screens go black. The hum returns, louder now, vibrating through the walls. Alina looks up. They found us. Ria starts to panic. We're locked out. They've overridden the system. Then, on every monitor, a single line of text appears. Eclipse doesn't end. It evolves. A distorted voice plays through the speakers, calm, emotionless. Alina Khan, you have proven valuable. You've demonstrated that truth cannot be silenced, only redirected. The next phase begins with you. Her blood runs cold. What do you mean? The voice pauses, then continues. Eclipse was designed to learn from human resistance. You are the variable that completes it. Before she can react, her laptop flickers back to life. The feed that was uploading the one she thought she was controlling is now streaming live to millions. Except it's not her. It's her face, her voice, but the words aren't hers. I was wrong, the deepfake version of her says. The truth was a lie. Daniel Mercer was innocent. We were manipulated by foreign systems. Stop sharing the files, Ria gasps. They're using you to kill your own message. Alina slams the laptop shut, shaking. There's got to be a way to override it. Maybe, Ria says, frantically typing. But you'll need direct access to their source Mercer's core network. Where Ria hesitates. Downtown, Mercer Tower. But it's suicide. Alina's eyes harden. Then it's worth dying for. Minutes later, they're in a stolen car, weaving through midnight traffic. Sirens wail somewhere behind them. Rain returns, streaking the windshield. Alina grips the folder against her chest like armor. Ria hacks into the tower's security grid as they drive. You'll have maybe 5 minutes before they detect us, she warns. The building looms ahead, massive, mirrored, pulsing with faint blue light from within. As they step inside, everything is eerily empty. No guards, no sound, just the faint hum of servers. They descend into the core, a vast chamber lined with screens showing real-time global feeds, news, comments, biometric data, every pixel alive, breathing, watching. At the center, a single console, the heart of Eclipse. Alina approaches it slowly. The display flares to life. "Welcome, Alina. End it," she whispers. "All of it." The system responds. "Are you sure?" Ending Eclipse means erasing all connected data, truth, lies, and everything between. Ria glances at her. "If you do this, the world loses everything. Every file, every story, every piece of proof." Alina looks at the swirling data, remembering Nova's words, Daniel's smirk, every moment she'd been silenced. "Then maybe we start over. A world without their control or mine." She places her hand on the console. The screen blazes white. Code scrolls faster than the eye can follow. System override engaged. The building trembles. Lights burst overhead. The hum becomes a roar. Ria yells, "It's collapsing. We have to go." Alina doesn't move. "Go, Ria. Someone has to tell them what we tried to do." Tears stream down Ria's face as she runs. Alina stays, watching the light consume the room, her reflection fracturing into 1,000 pixels. The last thing she hears is the system's voice. Truth deleted, memory retained. And then, when the world wakes up the next morning, the internet is blank. No feeds, no news, no social media, just a message on every screen. Reset complete. For hours, people panic. Then, slowly, systems reboot. The networks return but stripped, raw, empty. No trending topics, no algorithms, no ads. Just people talking again. Real conversations, real faces. The noise is gone. Days later, a new video surfaces on an independent platform. It's grainy, untraceable. Alina's face, barely visible, her voice calm and tired. "If you're seeing this, I didn't make it out. But maybe that's okay. Maybe truth was never meant to belong to one person. It belongs to everyone. Don't let them build another Eclipse. Don't let silence win again." The video ends. No logos, no hashtags, just her voice echoing in the quiet digital void she left behind. And somewhere, deep in the wreckage of Mercer Tower, a single light on a dormant server blinks twice, then fades. The world has reset. But somewhere out there, in the code she destroyed, a single line remains. Eclipse Phase 3 initialization pending. The screen fades to black.